and welcome back to another episode of Viper Falls, A Week in the Life. Last episode was a little chaotic, so make sure you guys check out part 1, linked below in my bio. But we're just going to pick up right where we left off. And it looks like Mr. Worldwide, that is the Servo, for those who don't know, is cooking breakfast. Mr. Worldwide is the newest addition to the family. Campbell, Dean's mother, created him in her laboratory, and he's also the first servo in Viper Falls. No one in this town has ever seen a robot before, and Mr. Worldwide is really wowing them all with just all his skills and how helpful he is, and he's just a great addition to the family. And then right now, I really want the family to open a business. So I think I just started having Mr. Worldwide make a lot of baked goods. I'm thinking about opening up a bakery next round with Dean's family. Let me know below what y'all think about that. It is 4 in the morning on a Saturday. It's the end of summer, almost fall. We're off to a slow, sleepy start this morning. Joe and Campbell got married last time we played, and then Joe is actually going to go ahead and retire from his job. He's been a CEO for his entire life, or not his entire life, but like most of his adult life. Joe's kind of having a crisis at the moment because he's cared so much about his reputation in the neighborhood to the point that he cut off his own daughter for eloping with the family butler. But now that's all kind of come to a head because it's undeniable that the newest addition to the family, Dean's baby Eckhart, has alien genetics. He has the alien eyes, which is just going to make it a lot harder to hide the fact that there's something weird going on in this household. Lily was also abducted by aliens last time as well. So yeah, Joe's just like, I cannot deal with this performance anymore. I'm just going to retire and stay home with my family and just help out where I can. And Lily is actually pregnant with her second child. Joe cannot believe that he retired. He really thought he was just going to work forever, but like I said, everything that kind of transpired last time really had him put his life in perspective and realize what's important and what's not. And he realized it's important to spend as much time with his family as he can. Every family has their secrets. Every family has their issues. And Joe's so upset with himself that he did not speak to Daisy for years and years. He still hasn't met Daisy's second child and only very briefly met Daisy's first child, Ellie. And actually, Joe's going to go ahead and write a novel. He's going to write a novel about what he knows. He knows about money, about yachts, about aliens, babies, and he doesn't know it all. That's kind of the point. He's going to write a fictional book about his life. So Joe is really pursuing his dream of writing the next great American novel, or I guess the next great Viper Falls novel. Okay, and then Dean is going to work. He is dressed up as French fries, I guess. He's shooting a fast food commercial today, and he's just gonna go ahead, go to work, make those simoleons for the family. Joe is hard at work on his novel. Lily's abduction really has made her closer with all the family. Like I said, things were so awkward before, lots of long silences, but now Campbell and Lily really are bonding more. Now that the family secret has come to light, that Campbell was abducted by aliens, Dean is half alien. It's like Campbell can stop pretending and she can just be herself. Mr. Worldwide is just the perfect nanny, and like I said, a great addition for the family. Eckhart is so cute. I love his alien eyes. I love the little subtle alien genetics. I really do want to get a baby with green skin, but hopefully that comes eventually. So Joe has recently retired to work on his novel and just kind of reflect on who he is and if he's happy with his life, because he is nearing the end of his lifespan. So he is kind of like, do I like who I am? And he's kind of confused. Mr. Worldwide is doing some spoken word poetry in between taking care of baby Eckhart. So Lily got pregnant very quickly after the birth of Eckhart. Like, Eckhart is still a newborn and she's already pregnant with baby number 2. The money isn't the issue. They can afford it. I think it's just taking a lot out of her. Physically, she's so tired all the time. Joe's fingers are just flying across that keyboard. He is completely renewed with purpose now that he has discovered his love of novel writing, and he can kind of vent about his life and write about everything his family's been through, but he's publishing it under the guise of fiction. So he's like, yeah, I retired and I'm going to write a novel now about aliens. Mr. Worldwide loves playing the piano. He's still new to the neighborhood, still new to Viper Falls and the family, so he's still trying to learn his way around. He really hasn't met many of the neighbors yet. Campbell wants to keep him under wraps, just for the time being, until she figures out her next move. It was such a big deal to make the first robot. Now she's like, okay, but I don't want anybody to take him. Like I said, I think I'm going to start a bakery business for the family sometime soon. So we're just having Mr. Worldwide go ahead and get a head start on that. Connor, the butler, is kind of like, I don't really know what to do because Mr. Worldwide is taking such good care of the house right now that the butler kind of isn't needed. He has a lot of time to stand around, which he's not used to. And Mr. Worldwide just loves to bake. I love servos because they only have 3 needs: power, fun, and social. Servos are really good for running businesses because they don't get tired like the other Sims do. Joe is just hard at work on this novel. He's finding it so therapeutic to just put all his emotions out there.
This just in, man discovers the joys of keeping a diary.
Like I said, Lily is just completely wiped out from this pregnancy, and she literally just gave birth a few months ago too, so her body is just kind of exhausted, and she really wants to be abducted again. Like, she cannot stop thinking about the aliens she met, and she was so skeptical of Dean telling her that he thought he was part alien. She was like, aliens aren't real, and then she was looking at the telescope soon after Eckhart was born, and she actually got abducted. And she's so fascinated by this whole secret world now that she had no idea existed and that most people don't know exist. Really, only this household has met the aliens. I don't think anyone else in Viper Falls have met aliens except for Campbell and Lily. So they're definitely picking this house. Both women were also abducted shortly after they gave birth to their first child, which I think also plays a part. I think it's something with the first child. But Lily is fascinated by this. Oh, not the cat throwing up. Mr. Worldwide loves pets, but he's kind of bored. I think I might get him a job because, like, robots need a purpose, and he's kind of bored walking around the house baking aimlessly. So we might get him a job. But first, we're gonna go have him recharge. The servos recharge by stepping outside during the sunlight hours.
Servos do have to charge once a day, and if they don't, they will run and just wreak havoc on the household.
And that is always kind of a disaster. They run around the house, making a mess. Their needs are going crazy. Campbell's home from work. She's looking at her robot like, why are you in the front yard? It's okay. She's gonna go ahead and go inside, take care of her needs. And then Mr. Worldwide is back to baking. He's gonna go ahead and have the family try some of this lemon loaf cake he's been working on so they can let him know if the recipe's any good and if he needs to make any adjustments. And then sometimes Mr. Worldwide tries to take a bite of his own baked goods too, but because servos do not have any hunger, he can never eat it or taste it. He doesn't have taste buds, he's a robot, so he really has to rely on the rest of the family to let him know if his baked goods are any good. Lily is just gonna go ahead and put away the leftovers. So she has lots of food options during this pregnancy, and she's kind of attracted to Mr. Worldwide.
There's too much going on at the moment. We don't have time to unpack that right now. We'll come back to that later.
Joe is so mad that he retired now. He's having serious FOMO seeing Campbell in her work uniform. And he's like, wow, I miss going to work. But what's done is done. He is now retired, and he can only focus on his creative pursuits now, like playing the piano, things that he didn't really have time for as much when he was working full-time. And he is a really creative person at his core. He loves to make art and play piano.
And he even has time to explore new hobbies like writing, too.
The butler runs to go and comfort Eckhart now before Mr. Worldwide can.
Mr. Worldwide is just hard at work preparing for this family bakery that isn't even built yet, but I have big dreams and Mr. Worldwide is going to get the family there. Campbell feels like she can finally kind of relax. She's built the first servo. Doesn't have to hide who Dean's father is anymore. I guess the only person in the family who still doesn't know the truth about the aliens and the abductions is Daisy, who is living out of the house with her husband Christopher. But they've just recently started talking to Daisy again after years of estrangement. So I think it's like one thing at a time. Maybe one of the next few visits, they'll be like, hey, by the way, Dean's your half-brother, and he's actually half alien, but it doesn't change anything about the family. Also, his wife was abducted. It seems like this house, everyone gets abducted right after they give birth. We don't really know what's going on there. Dean's aspiration meter is just totally in the red. He is so depressed. He's kind of like, oh my gosh, my parents lied to me, and now they're being all buddy-buddy with my wife after giving her the cold shoulder. It's easier for Lily to accept things and move on because she was abducted. She's like, we got bigger fish to fry, but Dean is still so caught up on the fact that he was lied to for most of his life. I mean, he's in his 20s now, and he just found out what he always suspected, that he's not part of this world. He's kind of isolating himself. He's spending a lot of long hours outside practicing with, ironically enough, Joe's putt-putt course that Joe was always too busy to play with. Just a normal Saturday night, end of summer, almost autumn. Dean's just grappling with a lot of new information, a lot of life changes. He doesn't really want to sit and talk with his parents, even though he's not mad at them because they were just trying to protect him and doing the best they could with the knowledge they had. Lily is dreaming about that bakery. Dean's extra protective of Lily now because he witnessed her being abducted. He's like, oh my gosh, there's no hiding it anymore.
Aliens are real, and they're in my family.
And Joe and Campbell are trying to grapple with the idea that maybe they didn't make the best decision. Maybe they should have told Dean from the start about his true parenthood, because Dean now is very clear that he never wants to lie to Eckhart, especially because Eckhart's eyes are very clearly alien eyes. He just wants Eckhart to know the truth from the very beginning. Mr. Worldwide has just kind of been dropped into the middle of all of this madness. He's a robot. He doesn't really understand how life-changing it is for Dean to find out that he's part alien, the aliens are real, and they also abducted not only his mother, but his wife. And Dean's kind of like, what if they didn't send her back? What if they had just kept her? And that kind of keeps him up at night. So Dean actually is having a lot of new anxiety. Everyone else in the household's kind of like, oh yeah, aliens, right. But Dean's like, what does any of this mean? Dean's just trying to keep himself busy before the arrival of the new baby. And Mr. Worldwide finds himself really lonely at night because everybody's asleep. Lily's up at odd hours because she's sleeping throughout the day.
But she's so exhausted from her pregnancy, she's really not up for conversation.
Like I said, she's been pretty level-headed about all of this. She was trying to keep Dean calm when he was speculating that he was part alien. Dean has the pointy ears. He always felt like he didn't quite belong, but it wasn't until the former butler Christopher told him that he is half alien that he started to really put the pedal to the metal and question things.
And I think at this point, Dean's realizing the more he learns, the less he knows. Because now I think some new questions are arising. Why did Christopher tell Dean when he did the truth? Why did Christopher not tell other people? Christopher was cut off from the family money. Why didn't he blackmail Joe? Why did he go right to Dean and say, you need to know the truth? A lot of new questions have been arising and floating around Dean's head. He really wants to have a one-on-one talk with Christopher and just kind of ask him all this. Like, why did you tell me when you did? Did you tell Daisy? Did you tell the news outlets? I think it's going to come to light that Christopher did try to kind of blackmail the family with it, but he went about it in a very awkward and weird way. And Christopher thought that telling Dean was going to make Dean hate his parents, but it just kind of sent Dean to a spiral of who am I instead. It didn't make Dean hate them. He was like, they were just trying to protect me. So I think Christopher told Dean as an act of revenge for Joe and Campbell cutting off Daisy for marrying Christopher, but it kind of backfired because it didn't make Dean resentful. It just kind of made him depressed. And now Christopher doesn't really know how to come clean as that with Daisy. Like, what is he gonna say to Daisy? Like, oh yeah, I knew your brother was half alien and I told him to make him hate your parents, but I'm the reason he's so depressed. I mean, I guess the truth would have come out eventually. Like I said, Eckhart does have the prominent alien eyes. There's no denying that. And Lily just had her second bump, which means she'll be giving birth Monday morning. But for now, she's gonna finish her burger. Joe and Dean are both kind of depressed for the same reason. Campbell is thriving. I think she is perma-platinum at this point in her life, which means her needs decay a lot slower and she's just always in a good mood. I think she is truly, truly at peace. She's talking to her daughter again and the family knows about the alien stuff. And she's like at peace for the first time in her life. Or I think if she gets abducted again, she's going to start being in a good mood. She really wants to study these aliens. Lily doesn't have a job at the moment, so she kind of has all this free time just to sit around and think about space. Things are pretty good for Campbell right now, and she loves having all the grandbabies in the house. She's acknowledged them, but she did roll the one to have 20 grandchildren. I don't think that'll happen. She only has 2 children, and Daisy only has 2 kids. So that would mean Dean and Lily would have to have 17 children. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I admire just the audacity to even roll that, so I kind of locked it in. Like, maybe it'll happen. Mr. Worldwide is still kind of trying to figure things out. He's kind of like a newborn baby, but he's a robot. He hasn't really gone out in the town yet. Doesn't really know who he is yet. I really think Mr. Worldwide needs to get a job or something just to keep him busy because he is going a little stir crazy being in this house all day. Joe is very stressed out about the state of his life. He doesn't think he made the best decisions. Now he's nearing the end of his life and he's just really worried that
He's just spent his whole life chasing superficial things that in the end don't really matter at all.
he just stares at Lily a lot. He's like, what do you know? You were also abducted like Campbell was. Something's going on in this house. And it almost makes you wonder if maybe Joe's involved somehow with all the guilt he's been feeling recently. Maybe he's been striking a deal with the UFOs. And now he's gonna sing a little bit. And then, of course, as daybreak nears, he decides it's time to go and work on his novel again. He's really putting his all into his novel. As I said, he is nearing the end of his life, as we can see by his life stage bar right there. And he's really concerned about his legacy. He was a great businessman, but he was a terrible father, kind of. So he's like, I kind of want to fix my legacy. I'm going to write a best-selling novel, and then people will remember me by the novel and not all the horrible things I did. Lily is always sleeping. This pregnancy is just wiping her out so much. She doesn't know why. She has been completely zapped of all energy. We are now in fall. Campbell's always researching, even though she's built the first servo and she holds that title. She always believes that you can learn more and there's always stuff to learn.
Life is just a never-ending quest for knowledge, in Campbell's opinion.
Lily is just itching to be abducted again, much to the dismay of the rest of the family. Campbell was kind of like, that was like a one and done deal for me, but Lily's like, I want to go back and I kind of want to talk to the aliens more. I want to learn more about their culture. Like, Lily's in disbelief that Campbell just kind of let this thing happen to her and moved on with her life. Lily's like, I am going to think about this forever. I don't know how you kept this a secret for almost 30 years. With Joe recently retiring, retirement is also heavy on Campbell's mind, and I think she's about to step away from her job as a top secret researcher. Unlike Joe, who kind of just worked for the status, Campbell worked because she loved what she was doing, and she loved researching, and she loved everything she was doing. Lily being abducted's kind of thrown a wrench in everybody's plans. It's kind of redirected the direction of their life, I guess. Dean is just trying to channel all of his confused emotions into working out or playing the piano. He's feeling a lot, and he's also kind of feeling betrayed by Lily. He feels that she's almost siding with his parents, which again, there's no sides. I think Dean is just very angry at the world, understandably so, because he didn't know his real dad for so long. He always felt like an outcast, and all along his parents knew the reason why. Lily is weirdly attracted to Mr. Worldwide. I don't even know how to begin to unpack that. To Lily, Mr. Worldwide represents all the mysteries of the universe, and she's always been attracted to that. Maybe even that's what subconsciously kind of drew her to Dean, because she was like, you're mysterious, you kind of have a vibe about you. And then her hunches paid off, because, like I said, Dean is half alien, and his whole family is just full of dysfunction. So I don't think Lily actually likes Mr. Worldwide. She just likes the idea of kind of flirting with the unknown. Literally, in her case. And like I said, Lily and Campbell have been increasingly closer since her abduction, but there's still that wedge between Lily and Joe, and Dean and Joe, and I guess Joe versus everybody in the house. Joe is kind of the common denominator here. Lost, and he's like, wow, I spent my whole life
Trying to be perfect.
for what? Nothing matters. The whole town's gonna learn that we have aliens in our family. Whatever. And he's like, why did I care so much? Why did I not speak to my daughter for almost a decade? Again, this pregnancy is just wiping everything out of Lily. It's taking everything that she's got.
As you can see, she had to immediately get back into bed after lunch. She is just so exhausted from growing this new baby.
Dean is hyper-focused on cleaning up the house, trying just to not be alone with his thoughts longer than he has to. Joe is obsessively working on his novel. This is giving him a renewed purpose in life. His family doesn't know that he is writing a thinly veiled fictional novel about their lives. They just think Joe has kind of tapped into his artistic side after spending so long focused on money, but he's actually almost writing a diary, essentially. He's just very loosely changed their names. He's like, okay, if people are going to know my family is full of aliens, then I'm going to be the one to let them know. I'm going to get ahead of it. The family's also still keeping Mr. Worldwide a bit of a secret. They don't want the neighbors to know yet. Campbell's kind of paranoid in that sense. She's already made the first robot. There's nothing really for the neighbors to copy, but she's still just a little eccentric in that sense. Dean's favorite person in the house right now, or favorite things in the house right now, are the two cats. He's like, they've never betrayed me, they never lied to me. Campbell has been thinking about retiring all day, and she's gonna go ahead and retire from her job. She sees Joe working on his novel, and she feels like she doesn't have to hide anymore. She used to bury herself in her work for so long, so she wouldn't have to think about missing Daisy or lying to Dean, and now the family is back in contact with Daisy, and Dean knows everything, so Campbell doesn't feel like she has to hide. She feels like she can spend time with her family again, which is so freeing. Here she is bragging about making the first robot, and Dean's like, yeah, Mom, you really did it. You're like the first man on the moon. And Campbell says, exactly. Joe's fingers are flying across that keyboard. Lily is ready to pop. I think Dean just wants an apology from his parents. He just wants them to be like, hey, we're sorry we lied to you. But I don't think that's ever been spoken. And that's the part that's really, really digging deep at Dean. And I think if he would reach out to Daisy, he would find that she is also kind of going through the same emotions right now, where she's like, I never got an I'm sorry from Mom and Dad for not speaking to me, for not meeting their grandchildren. So even though the family has moved on and they're being more open-minded now, they still haven't really apologized for the harm they caused. And I think that's the biggest thing for Dean. He just needs an I'm sorry. But no one's giving it to him because they're so deep in their own emotions. They know they messed up. They are just trying to move on, focus on the present. And I do believe it is Eckhart's birthday. He should be aging up very soon. Ever since Mr. Worldwide was crafted, Eckhart has kind of gone in the background. He's being raised by a robot nanny. I wonder how that's going to shape him as he gets older.
Just a quiet Sunday evening, waiting on the arrival of baby number 2 from Lily.
And I am guessing it's about to be Eckhart's birthday. If Lily is going all the way upstairs to pick him up, normally Mr. Worldwide will do that. And it looks like we might be glitched, so I might have to force him up. Oh, nope, there we go. Let's see. Okay, cool. And then Eckhart is now... Oh, and it looks like he has the pointy ears. He has the pointy ears and the eyes. I love it. I gave him a little makeover, gave him some curly hair, and put him in this little cute cow sweater. So that is very exciting. Eckhart has more alien features than Dean. I really love how the genetics work in this game. You never know what you're gonna get. It's awesome. Lily and Dean are totally on the same page of being 100% honest with Eckhart his whole life, letting him know, hey, your grandpa's an alien, but that doesn't really change anything about you, and we still love you so much. Joe is still hard at work on his novel. He's finding it very therapeutic to type out all his feelings, even if it is under a fictional novel. They are his feelings, and he is telling the story of his family. He also likes to write the novel in the room. Oh, and he finished. Oh, he patted himself on the back. I love it. Okay, let me think. He decided the unexpected encounter would be a little too on the nose. The main character of his novel is Mo Book, no relation to Joe Cook. Joe did take Campbell's name when they got married.
Huh? Oh.
So awesome, he is done writing the novel. Hopefully it will sell well. And that's his agent on the phone letting him know how the novel did. It's selling great, amazing. So I think that is considered a best-selling novel. So The Unexpected Deal is #1 of the Sim York Times. Everybody in Viper Falls is reading it, and everyone just thinks it's like a fictional novel. But I think a la Gossip Girl, when Dan wrote his novel, the whole family is slowly piecing together. He just published his diary, pretty much. Like, the cover has the aliens on it. And this really sours Dean against Joe. He feels betrayed by his dad. He's like, how could you not tell me who I was, where my family came from for so long, and be so concerned with appearances that you stopped speaking to Daisy over a marriage? But you'll publish a whole novel exposing that mom got abducted. And Lily is even briefly mentioned in the novel as Tilly. Dean is like, we need to move out of this house. He's ready to go. Again, he feels so comforted by the cats. He's like, I know the cats would never lie to me.
He's more than ready to move out of the house, but like I said, Lily still wants to get abducted again, and she's really afraid if they move out of the house, that won't happen. So she persuades Dean to stick it out with his parents just a little bit longer.
Dean, at this point, he's done playing nice. He's done just trying to keep the peace. He is beyond furious with his dad, and he's mad at his mom too, because she let Joe act the way he did, and everything's always on Joe's terms. Like, the family secrets couldn't come out, but when Joe decides to publish the family secrets, then they're allowed to come out. I don't think so, honey. And I think the toilet seat that I used to train him is actually glitched, and it somehow trained him immediately. But I'm going to go along with the storyline that is part of his little alien powers. He learns all his skills really fast. So yeah, Eckhart is crazy smart. Somehow Eckhart is more alien-like than Dean. Which, again, I just love the genetics in The Sims 2. I love how that can be passed down from Campbell to her grandson. And now it's going to be in the family tree, like, for the rest of the game. Like, that's awesome. Joe is thinking about Pao Wong, who is Charlie's husband. And Charlie, if y'all remember, was Campbell's best friend who had an affair with Joe right out of college when they were younger. Totally blew up that friendship. Joe and Campbell had to move out of the apartment building they were all living in because the drama was just too much. So it's very interesting, after publishing his best-selling novel, that Joe is still preoccupied with Charlie's husband. Kind of shows that maybe Joe's been harboring a little crush on Charlie all these years. Maybe he has not been totally loyal as he has promised. Oh, and Lily is giving birth to her second child. It is 4:30 a.m. on a Monday morning, early fall. Oh, just threw her head through the wall, but that's okay. Sims are very durable. And we have another little blonde baby. I don't see any alien features on this baby girl, and we're gonna call her Emmy Lou. Dean is so excited to be a father again. Little does he know, Emmy Lou is not his daughter. Emmy Lou is the product of a different alien that impregnated Campbell, but an alien nonetheless. Emmy Lou is half alien, and Dean is not the biological father. And I think Lily is very aware of that from the beginning. Just by looking at Emmy Lou, she's like, oh my gosh, this baby looks exactly like me. I don't see any of Dean's features on this daughter. But again, Dean has been in such a low point since all his family stuff came to light. And now he's furious at his dad for publishing that novel. So Lily's like, okay, maybe I'll tell him another time that Emmy Lou is not his daughter. And Lily is kind of repeating history with that move because that's how Dean was raised, and Dean never wanted any of his children to feel the same way. But Dean is just so happy to have a daughter, and he loves being a girl dad. And Lily doesn't want to break his heart. She feels like Dean's had enough heartbreaks recently. She promises herself that she's going to tell him later. She doesn't know when that later is, but it'll happen. And then Campbell is fully a hands-on grandmother. I think she is making up for all that lost time she didn't get to spend with Daisy's children. So now she's like, I'm retired now. I'm going to spend all my time with these babies. And then Mr. Worldwide, as always, has stepped up as the nanny. Everyone in this house, I think, aside from Campbell, is in the red aspiration, which goes to show how stressed they all are. Oh, Joe's in gold because he's still riding that high of his novel being published. And Campbell, of course, is perma-platinum, which means she's always in a good mood. But Dean, Lily, Mr. Worldwide, they're all struggling. Mr. Worldwide, I mean, it's in his name. He wants to go out and see the world, but he's been kind of trapped in this house ever since his creation. Everybody's eating different leftovers for breakfast. No one's speaking. Campbell is upstairs teaching Eckhart how to talk. Oh, and it looks like the fortune teller just dropped off a magic lamp for Campbell. I play my game. Whoever has the highest aspiration or the most aspiration points, they get to have the lamp. And I think in this family, it is Campbell by a long shot. Campbell now has a magic lamp. That's kind of an odd spot on the porch. I wonder if she's going to be able to get to it. Okay, it doesn't look like it. I don't know how the fortune teller managed to squeeze the lamp in there, but we're going to go ahead and move that really quickly so Campbell can make her first wish. The fortune teller will drop off the lamp if your sim has a lot of aspiration points or if they are perma-platinum. It looks like Campbell gets to make a wish, and she's gonna go ahead and wish. She wants a long life because she wants to spend time with her grandchildren. She wants to make up for that lost time. She's spent so long just working, and it has really eaten away at her. And then if you watch her age meter, it actually went backwards, and now she is only about halfway full, so that's awesome. So Campbell has a long life, and she also wants some money, even though they're comfortable, but you know, you can always have more simoleons.
Oh, Shavella! Oh, much gonna let him.
Allegedly, the money bag can crush them sometimes when it falls, but I have yet to see it happen. Again, I think that would be interesting gameplay. I could really make a story with that, but it hasn't happened yet. And then I also know if the money bag's falling, it'll fall for hours and hours, so don't make another wish right away. Let the money bags kind of fall right on your sim. And she's gonna tuck away that lamp for safekeeping. Oh, and Lily and Dean are back doing their favorite activity. I swear they do this about 3 times a day. I have to pry them apart sometimes. But you know what? I guess they're both in a really bad place right now. They're both feeling a lot of emotions, and they just find comfort in each other. The nursery's getting a little messy, but that's okay. I think that's bound to happen when you have a toddler and a newborn. Lily sees how happy Dean is being a father, and she doesn't know how to even begin to tell him that the newest addition to the family isn't biologically his. He's so full of life again. He seems revitalized after the birth of their daughter, or I guess Lily's daughter. And it looks like Lily just threw up again because, like I said, these two cannot keep their hands off each other. And then, following the success of The Unexpected Deal, Joe is hard at work on his second novel. Again, he's taking some liberties from his personal life, and this novel, I think he's going to focus on talking about his estrangement from Daisy. Dean is really not speaking to anyone in the house except for Lily right now, and like I said, he is trying to channel his confusion into his art, into working out, playing the piano. He's just seeking as many outlets as he can to try to channel what he's feeling, because he's not sure what he's feeling. He thought that finding the truth out about his family would make things easier, would make him feel at peace, but instead, like I said, he just has so much resentment towards everybody, and he's surprised at the anger he feels. But also the anger is kind of justified, because like I said, neither of his parents ever apologized for keeping this huge secret from him, and his dad is literally writing novels about his life. Mr. Worldwide is close to a breakdown. He really needs to step out, touch some grass. Campbell is still collecting her bags of money. The amount does go down a little bit each time. I think you get about 25,000 simoleons, if I'm correct. The family is getting a significant increase in their wealth. Like I said, they were already pretty well off and respected, but now they have more money. Joe is even more respected because of his novelist career. All the neighbors are in awe that he can do it all. And like I said, even though Joe kind of wrote the novel as a way to expose his family, everybody thinks it is just a very creative fictional story, which is making things even harder. It adds another layer of confusion to the family. It's like, okay, so we can't talk about our flaws or family secrets, but we can write about them and pretend they're fictional, and people love the fictional version, but we can't tell them it's real. I mean, the character of the book is named Mo Book. And that money bag looked kind of close to Campbell, but it luckily did not hit her. And she and Joe just got their pension checks. They were both pretty high up in their careers, so they both together they're earning a little over 700 simoleons a day. And Campbell and Lily kind of have an unspoken bond, and especially now that Lily has given birth to a little alien baby of her own, she completely understands the panic that Campbell must have felt, especially as a woman kind of status, a renowned scientist, married to a CEO. Of course, Campbell felt like she couldn't tell anyone about Dean's truth. They really were just trying to protect Dean. They went about it in an odd way, but now Lily is kind of like, oh no, I have a part alien child, and I don't know how to tell her the truth. Lily is busying herself with cleaning, and Mr. Worldwide is also trying to busy himself by being outside more and helping shape up the hedges. Joe spends all his time writing. The family doesn't really speak to him much anymore anyway, so yeah, it doesn't really make a difference. Dean has watched his dad transfer his workaholic tendencies from his career to writing. It's just like when Joe had a job. He is spending all his time working and no one really sees him. But again, Dean's so mad at him and doesn't want to speak to his dad right now that it's probably for the best that Joe just busies himself with his novels. And I really think Lily and Campbell have more in common than they think, beyond just both being knowledge Sims who were both abducted by aliens and giving birth to little alien babies. The more time Lily spends in this house, the better she understands Campbell's decisions. And Lily knows she needs to tell Dean the truth, and she knows Dean will be so understanding, but it also might traumatize him to know that his child's not his. Mr. Worldwide is recharging in the rain next to a pile of trash. Dean has, again, been in a better mood since the birth of Emmy Lou. Oh, so now Lily's kind of trying to broach the topic. She's like, hey, you know how I was abducted by aliens? But Dean really doesn't want to talk about it right now. He said, no, that's traumatizing for me. My mom was abducted. That's my origin story. I was lied to. He has all this trauma. And Lily's just trying to talk through it, but again, in Dean's house, they don't talk about things, so Dean doesn't know how to process his own trauma, leaving Lily to eat dinner alone. And she's like, maybe I shouldn't tell him the truth. Maybe this is a sign that we just need to pretend, and maybe he'll never know. There are no butlers around to whisper secrets. They have made it clear. They made the new butler sign an NDA after Christopher went around running his mouth. Eckhart is being cared for primarily by Mr. Worldwide and Connor, the new butler. For all Lily and Dean talk about being parents and trying to be better than Dean's parents, they're kind of slacking off. I know Dean's traumatized, but he does need to take some effort in his own life at some point, and he can't just say his trauma is everything. Lily is getting a little sick of him always talking about being traumatized. She's like, okay, your parents lied to you, but now you know the truth. Let's move forward. Let's move on. Like, Dean's so focused on his own trauma that he couldn't really be there for Lily when she was abducted. And I'm sure that's like its own level of traumatizing. He didn't even really want to hear about what she saw or what happened. And he kind of knows that Emmy Lou might not be his. He knows, but he doesn't want to unpack that. He does not want to repeat his parents. He does not want to become Joe. And he's so terrified of ending up just like Joe, alone and bitter at the end of his life and unable to apologize, but putting work and finances and reputation over everything, including his own family. There is a bad storm happening right now. Mr. Worldwide is, again, growing increasingly depressed that he's kind of trapped in this house. He really wants to go out, explore the town, meet the people. Like, at his core, he is a very social robot. Campbell is just so afraid of people finding out. She's not quite ready to unveil Mr. Worldwide yet. I think the person in the house that Mr. Worldwide is closest to is Eckhart. And I kind of like that idea. They're kind of both misfits in this household. I feel like Lily and Dean are kind of having kids for the purpose of having kids, but they're not really taking the time to learn with their kids, to, like, you know what I mean, cuddle with the kids, just raise the kids, I guess. Like, for all Dean's talk and not wanting to end up like his parents, he's acting just like them by pushing the duties of the childcare onto the help. Joe's trying to break his writer's block by doing a new medium of art. He's trying some spoken word poetry. Dean and Lily are in bed for the evening. Dean is terrified of changing a diaper as usual, but he also wants to, I think, teach Eckhart a nursery rhyme. So he does want to do the fun parts of parenting, but he doesn't want to do the actual parenting. Which again, I think Dean has a lot more in common with his parents than he wants to admit to himself. He is totally bent on the idea that he is different, he's going to do things different. But I do think your environment factors a lot into the way you're raised, and you can't really undo all that with just a few babies. Mr. Worldwide, like I said, has really forged a bond with Eckhart, and Lily is upset. She hasn't had the greatest week. She got abducted by aliens and gave birth to an alien baby, and Dean does not want to talk about it, and Lily's not sure what to do. I think Lily is going to have to speak with Campbell about her situation first and kind of hear Campbell's perspective. Because again, at first they were so horrified by what Dean's parents had done, the lying, the deception. But now that Lily's giving birth to her own hybrid alien babies, she's kind of understanding. You just want to protect your children from the world, and you don't want people to judge them any differently. Lily is kind of having a spiral at the moment. Dean has just been doing video games, piano lessons, painting pictures, working out, doing whatever he can to not be alone with his own thoughts. And Lily is up reading the reviews of Joe's novel. They are still great. People really, really praise Joe for his creative mind, which makes Lily roll her eyes because, again, Joe just took the whole family's lore that he was so embarrassed by, changed a few names, tweaked a few details. And Mr. Worldwide is awake at 1 a.m. feeding the baby. I like how neither Lily nor Dean offered to help feed baby Emmy Lou. They let the robot do it. For all their talk about being better than Dean's parents, they really are hands off. And then for some reason, they began making out in Dean's parents' room while they slept. I'm sure there is some deeper meaning there. One of them being that Dean is completely spiraling and Lily is just also spiraling. So the two of them together are not making the best decisions right now. They're kind of acting out of character. They're being a little bit manic, if I'm being honest. And their noise actually woke Campbell up. She's like, whatever, I'm gonna go hang out with the grandchildren that the two of you are neglecting while you suck each other's faces. Lily and Dean really love each other, and the type of love they have is so passionate. And Joe and Campbell don't have that type of passion. But I don't think that passion necessarily equates to being a good parent. Like, I feel like Lily and Dean love each other more than their children. Whereas I feel like Campbell, for all her flaws, loved Daisy and Dean more than Joe. Or loves Daisy and Dean more than Joe. And she loves Joe a lot too, but like, her children are her number ones. And Dean and Lily don't seem to share that number one priority. Like, it's easy for them to sit and talk about what terrible parents Campbell and Joe were. But again, Lily's kind of realizing it's more nuanced than that, especially now that she's given birth to her own hybrid alien baby. But Dean still sees things very much black or white, good and bad, and he can't understand that most things exist in a kind of gray area. And again, I think his parents were just doing the best they could with what they could at the time. I think the decision to cut off Daisy was a little harsh, but I think that was also like the result of years of lying to Dean, of harboring all this pent up energy and nervousness about the neighbors finding out about them. So yeah, I think Daisy being cut off wasn't necessarily because she married the butler. It was just kind of the last straw in Joe's eyes. It kind of sent him into a spiral. But again, he's come full circle. He's regretted all that now, even though he hasn't said sorry, and he is trying to monetize the family's life story. Campbell is sending some important emails regarding Mr. Worldwide. She really wants to get credited for building the first And again, Joe keeps trying to kind of talk to Dean, but Dean really isn't interested in anything Joe has to say. The more time that passes, the less Dean even views Joe as his father, which is ridiculous because, again, Joe raised him. Dean really needs to let go of this resentment towards his parents, and like I said, just realize they were doing the best they could with the information they had at the time, and that's the only way he's going to be able to move forward and heal. But unfortunately, that's easier said than done, and Dean is clinging on to the past with everything in him. We are going to go ahead and start wrapping things up for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit more about Dean's family and just kind of the lore behind Daisy's parents. I hope you guys can kind of understand now what makes them tick. I think next up we are going to go to Donna Jo and Delilah's house. Donna Jo and Delilah live with their father, and they both have their respective families, but even though they're sisters, they're pretty different, and I think, again, a lot's gonna come to light when we play. I cannot wait to share more with y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. And I think that's it, y'all. I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye!